So like, am I just supposed to spend this whole video making bear puns, or like, am I supposed to record this like this is just like a normal thing that you're going to do in Legacy? How do I approach this one? Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another Legacy video. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and Ustinius has gone absolutely off the deep end and has asked me to play a Hate Bears deck list. Um, so we're we're just going wild. We are going to stretch the limitations of what is playable in Legacy today, because there is one extremely good bear, and that is Ayula, Queen Among Bears. 2/2. Whenever another bear enters the battlefield under your control, you choose one. You put 2+1/+1 counters on target bear, or target bear you control fights target creature that you don't. So, if every 2 mana 2/2 in this deck becomes a 2 mana 4/4 in this deck, that is all of a sudden pretty appealing. Or you can stack up a bunch of +1/+1 counters and make like an Uber Bear and use that to destroy your enemies. The kind of unfortunate thing here is that there's one really cool bear that's quite good, one very sophisticated bear with a decent number of abilities, and then a lot of the rest of the bears are just unimpressive by Legacy standards. So we're going to have to do some honorary mention bears to Metallic Mimic, as well as Adaptive Automaton to be bear lords or something resembling them. So our goal today is to cast bears and attempt to get some wins in Legacy. Because just imagine getting paired on Magic Online against some guy playing bears and you lose. And you have to go to Twitter and say, I just lost to bears in Legacy. And we want that to happen. We want that to happen at least once. We're hoping to put up one win with the Bears tonight. Two would be stellar for this deck. So we do have some synergies. We can make all of our bears uncounterable if we would like, and we can kind of use Aether Vial with Rashadan Port and Wasteland in the same way that a deck like Death and Taxes or Goblins might. Since we kind of have one good bear, we do need some bonus ways to find them, and that's kind of what Once Upon a Time is here for. We will really, really be looking for this card with Once Upon a Time, more so than anything else. As far as the sideboard goes here, generally speaking, we're not playing a powerful deck today. We are here to meme on people. This deck is barely Legacy playable. Get it? Never mind. So I think we need to kind of take some called shots for what we're going to play against. The original deck list had 4 ley lines, 4 mindbreak traps, 3 chokes, 4 force of vigors, and I decided to lean in a little bit more on the graveyard hate and a little bit more on the choke, rationalizing that we're very likely to play against blue decks and very likely to play against graveyard decks, and we're probably not winning game 1 versus a graveyard deck in any reasonable way. But Phil, shouldn't you be playing Endurance since you're a green deck? Endurance isn't a bear and you know it. Alright, good. Now that we've got that covered. And then I played a couple of Dismembers so that we can have some removal spells for the fair matchups. But this is 100% a video. It is the Bears versus the world, and we're gonna see if we can meme on a couple of people and put up some wins with Bears. Are we going to get absolutely demolished by more powerful decks? Yes. But are we going to have fun while doing it? Also yes. Or I'll go insane. Either way, it should make for a pretty entertaining video. Without further ado, let's get into it. And if you're new here and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. The decks are usually interesting and fun, but today they're especially fun. And if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. Let's do it. Let's battle. Okay. I am not the biggest fan of this hand in terms of like density of threat. However, Aether Vial is a hell of a drug. And I think starting on that and then trying to win a game effectively with Wasteland and Rashaudenport seems pretty reasonable. That is a force of will pitching a daze. Okay. All right. So we're going to start by playing against arguably the best deck in the format, and we'll see how bears do. All right. What do you got? Just play like a cantrip. Fuck. I generally speaking do not like Wastelanding Delver. I just think that puts you further behind. But we are playing a bear deck, so we've got to take some swings on some things that are a little bit riskier in order to try and more consistently win a game. What are the keywords on this? Vigilance, Reach, Trample, Ward 2. Okay. I'll go to 19. Please, please don't play more creatures, but it's like 100% a creature, because otherwise they would have done something first main phase or not. So this should have happened in the first main phase, so that my opponent has a chance to turn this into a 3/3. They have to hit a creature or an artifact off the surveil. Okay. It's the good bear. Am I playing the good bear into a lightning bolt? Probably. What am I going to do? Play around stuff? Bear. Am I the first person to put Cavern on bear in Legacy? No, probably not. Am I the first person to put Cavern on bear for 10,000 people? Feel pretty confident about that one. I think that's me. Although, way back in the day, there was an SCG event where someone showed up playing a bears deck with, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, I don't know the exact name of the card. It's like Mergandan Petroglyphs or something like that. That gives all your creatures without abilities +2/+2. And they actually got on coverage. I believe they were also wearing like a bear hat. So it was a full gimmick. They leaned in even harder than I did. Still just taking one here. Adaptive Automaton. Not a bear, technically, so will be counterable. I think that's fine. Bear doesn't have flash. Bear feels like it should have flash. It has so many other words on it. You know, we're not gonna use the Cavern of Souls here, just to make it uncounterable a different way. We're in business. Okay. This can be like scary Murktide Regent time or EI time. It is Murktide Regent. Got a 7/7 in play that I have no outs to. That's honestly not the best for me. We'll drop some bears and then try to drop this next turn and see if we can somehow steal a win, but I don't really see that happening. Alright, how bad is this going to be? I can take 7 and be on a 3-turn clock, or I could take 10 and be on a 2-turn clock. A little hard to take 10 this turn, but it's very possible. Okay, there's a follow-up land. Okay, it's air quotes, just 7. This technically can block. I don't think I'm supposed to block. If I'm winning, it is by dealing 16 points of damage to my opponent. We will tap the Cavern of Souls. Fortunately, this is missing the nice line of can't be countered. There. Alright. We have bears. Send them. I am attacking for 8 bear damage here. That is a 2-turn clock in terms of raw life total. Sure. That's fine. That's not going to change this into a 3/3 during combat. There's only 2 card types in here, and one of them is already instant, so even if my opponent hit another one, that wasn't going to happen. We're probably not getting to Threshold for Werebear this game. Forced Delver onto a chump block. Wow. Alright. I suppose that, in and of itself, is an accomplishment. Tap down a land. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So, my opponent's not technically dead next turn, right? It's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're at 1 if I all out attack them. Oh, it's another Murktide Regent. So that grows the first Murktide Regent because that is a totally reasonable thing to happen. Alright, do I just take 10? Like, I can block this but I'm always dead next turn. So I think the only way I win is my opponent just not having anything and me drawing something miraculous. I'm going to go ahead and just eat this damage here. Go to 1. All right. Another Wilson. They're legendary. And I am deterministically dead. GG's. So here I have these as options for things that I can bring in. What is my plan? My plan might legitimately just be unexpected choke, kill my opponent with a bunch of sad tutus off Ethervile. I think I want to play chokes and dismembers and not play Leyline, I think. So I'll definitely board out regular old Grizzly Bear. Mother Bear 5 mana ability, technically relevant, I suppose. This one has flash. One's a mana dork. Maybe get rid of the flash one. So this gets me 4 chokes. Can't ever possibly cast these. I think I would just play some chokes, use Dismember to help get through some early creatures, and then hope that I can stick a choke and steal a win. And then hope that that trick works twice somehow. Also removing Masked Vandal was probably better than removing a 2/2. One gets wastelanded and like never gets to do cool stuff some portion of the time. I think I ship this one. Why have you forsaken me? What have I done? No true green source for choke is rough here. I'm gonna ship it. I'm gonna go to 5. This is the best hand so far. I probably throw back. Well, Werebear's a mana dork. Probably need to keep the Dismember for an early creature from my opponent. I'm actually gonna keep the mana dork here, so that if I do draw a choke, which would be one of my better draws, I can try to play that around a daze. The first hand might be better than this hand. One at least has a shot of removing a turn 1 like Dragon Rage Channeler or Delver. And I think I still just will dismember that. Nice. Once Upon a Time is not bad. But I'm just going to get my mana dork going. And next turn we can attempt a Once Upon a Time into another card. Okay. So let's start here before making a land drop. That'll be a threat for sure. And this one is uncounterable. I've already played my land drop. Alright, no end of turn lightning bolt. Yeah, I want my opponent to just like tap out for some stuff. I play a choke, and then I just like race them with a couple of bears. Choke, 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 choke. Play this. Choke Rishadenport. Combo. Alright. Jump choke. Ah. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. The bears. The bears. They are here. Oh my god, it's working. I'm a genius. Crashing with both these bears. Alright. So you're telling me that there's a chance that bears get a game versus best deck in the format. Nice. I don't really want that vial. Crash in with my bears. This also has reach. This does just trade with a Delver. And I guess I'm playing a vial. Pass the turn. Then let's attempt to tap down that wasteland, I suppose. I was just going to let it happen. Daze is not a card of concern as of right now. Opponent's not willing to trade their Delver. Vial goes up. I'll attempt the trade, though. See how they feel about it in this other direction. Okay, they will trade. This does leave me with a threat in play. Wish my, remaining card wasn't a land, but you can't have it all. Let's attempt to tap that down, see if they want to get rid of my Rishadenport. Answer is no. And the journey of one young werebear to deal 12 points of damage now begins. Second choke isn't doing me a lot of good, but we're going to play it anyway. Because why wouldn't we? That's fine. I will pay for that. That returns a land to their hand for a one-time use, but by having this in play, I get to play around a Brazen Borrower in the future. So I think this is still a-okay with me. Alright, now they're willing to go after the Rishadan port because of Volcanic Island. So let's always no to this and always yield to this. I only have 2 3-drop creatures in my whole deck. This is about to become big, by the way. Wasteland or Mother Bear? Honestly, probably just Wasteland. Don't let my opponent build up mana. Like, I want more threats. I really and truly do. I have 5 cards in graveyard. My opponent Lightning Bolts my Werebear. I can get real fucking cute. Go and crash in. Opponent goes to 10. In their upkeep, I will go after this land. Oh my god, my opponent played around Lightning Bolt on Werebear. Like me wastelanding one of my own cards to put 7 in graveyard. Superb. My opponent has been around for a while. Hey, one of my 3-drops. I'm just going to cast it so I can leave this on 2. Name Bear. We got a game versus Delver. A game versus Delver. So Masked Vandal can go out and I'll keep 2/2 bear instead of a 1/3 bear. Then I can think about whether or not I want to play Leyline of the Void on the draw. If I assume that this game goes decently long, I don't actually need that much mana. I could board out Aether Vial on the draw, play Leyline of the Void, and just make it so it's harder for a Murktide Regent or Dragon Rage Channeler to just easily carry the game. I think I'm going to try that. This is a good density of bears with, like, I've got good bears. I will keep this. Probably going to be less impressive than my opponent's hand on average, but pretty good hand for this deck. Land go. And we're just going to see how strongly my opponent can leverage the fact that they are on the play. There's an EI. That Wasteland is going to be quite good unless I happen to draw another basic. Go to 17. I haven't played a spell yet, so this is a freebie. Let's just cast that. If we find a cavern. No cavern, but it is another basic land. I wish I could take that choke. Play basic. Probably just lead on Metallic Mimic here. Like, this is great if it lives, otherwise this can just eat a daze or whatever. Put it on bear. Yeah, end of turn Brainstorm is fine. Wonder if that Brainstorm was correct on their turn. I'll look for a red fetch land. Because now, they're not set up for a good EI on their next turn here. Okay, there is a red fetch land. Oh, that's a lot of pressure in the air. I'm going to 14 here. And this Brainstorm has potentially set up Delver for the next turn as well. I think it is just play Wilson time, followed by play Wilson's cousin, other Wilson time. This is uncounterable. Should have flash. On reflecting on the art, I don't think it should have flash. And I think we are rumbling here. I would be very happy to trade for a Delver on this board. Opponent will go to 18. And my opponent has learned that this has ward. Flips to a Brainstorm. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Much as I love the idea of having a bonus bear around that I can attack with and then trading with next turn, I think I've just got to kind of do it now. EI is fine. So I do, I guess, wonder if that was supposed to just happen pre-combat. I don't really want to get wastelanded. My next turn is so much better if I don't, because I can play Ayula and then Wilson. Another wasteland. Double spelling is off the table. Delavi. Oops, all Wilsons. Oops, all Wilsons. Okay. I will get my 2 points of damage in. Bring my opponent to 15. 3 mana never makes a difference in my deck. There's another bear. It doesn't trigger on itself. Yeah. Oops, all Wilsons is the plan. And I have to kind of hope that my opponent doesn't want to wasteland me for some reason. That I can then deploy 2 bears. Unholy Heat. So that essentially costs my opponent their turn. Yeah, so my opponent did have a reason to not wasteland me. So now if I rip a land, I can play Ayula into uncounterable Wilson. And that's actually, like, incredibly strong. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Okay. Cavern on Bear. Play Ayula. So do I make a Giant Wilson or a Fighting Wilson? Wilson can just kill this. Giant Wilson walls this. I can also just play, like, I don't know, this would be counterable. Yeah, I do want to play Wilson. Yeah, the third one. I could also just, like, use Ayula to fight Delver and then still have 5 power on the battlefield. But I think I just make Wilson dummy thick. Be a little awkward versus, like, a bounce spell like Brazen Borrower. But otherwise, next turn I just play 2 bears, fight one, like fight a Wilson on a Delver, and go from there. Although my Cavern's probably getting wastelanded. Yep, it definitely is. I might just be bigger than Murktide Regent. There's only 2 instants and sorceries over there. Oh, there was a third one I missed. That's still fine. Leyline of the Void, not the best draw here. Let's attempt a Werebear. This resolves, my creature is larger than Murktide Regent. Damn it. Force pitching a Daze. Vigilance, Reach, Trample. Needed that bear to resolve. Then I had a 7/7, and I got to wall this. So now I'm going to potentially die to a Lightning Bolt. Honestly, this is way closer than I expected it to be. Maybe I underestimated the bears. I mean, Wasteland's good. That keeps, like, Daze type cards on, and, like, very much keeps me from double spelling. I have to just take this hit and hope they don't have a bolt. Go to 2. That is comic timing for Dismember. I will attempt a Mother Bear. Yeah, there's that Daze. That unfortunately is going to do it, assuming that my opponent makes good attacks on their turn. Because I only have 1 reach creature. I've brought my Delver opponent to 2. But that's gonna be curtains for me. So very close here. Like 2 points of life difference. And we get this one. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, which is more than just the deck building website that they advertise to be. It's a place where you can go to find articles and more than just deck lists. So for example, if you want to find out the people who are, like, brewing, or a lot of the brewers with the most followers, that's something that's just readily accessible on this website. So consider checking them out. Okay, I've got an Aether Vial. I will keep this hand and hopefully pump out a whole lot of bears. My opponent, however, is mulliganing to 5, which probably means a combo, and that's not good for the old bear deck over here. Then again, I also thought we couldn't really beat Delver, and look how that went. Alright, my opponent's on 5. Oh? Chalice? Chalice is fine. I will just opt not to play this Aether Vial. Actually, that's just wrong. I just play the Aether Vial, right? To put a card in the graveyard for Werebear. It's just, like, basically strictly correct to play Aether Vial. Yeah. That's weird. Threshold. It matters, and I'm not very good at getting it. I think that's better than trying to save it for the 1/3 exile a creature from your graveyard, remove an artifact thing. Okay, we're just playing against real fucking decks today. We're just playing against Legacy's tier 1 while I'm memeing on bears. Understood. Oh, it's got a plains. Does not bode well. There's a reason to have not played Vial. Cavern on bear. I think I actually play Werebear here. I just need to multi-spell if I'm going to have any chance to keep up with the power that my opponent can produce by going down that left path. I'm also going to need to rip a line. Oh, sure. Yeah, my plan is draw a land, play 2 bears, and then play Adaptive Automaton the next turn, and, like, try to do something that reasonably messes with my opponent enough in terms of the combat step that I can, like, take the initiative. No attack seems wrong. Alice on 2. Annoying. Like, White Plume untaps itself, so no attack is almost certainly incorrect. Once Upon a Time is now dead. More Werebear? Probably more Werebear. Bears! And next turn I can double spell. Like, play a Mother Bear, then a Wilson, and I have 2 ways to make things uncounterable through Chalice. Okay, White Plume attacks this turn. Don't understand the no attack last turn. Like, it untaps itself. I can technically attempt to take the initiative this turn, but I'm going to just lose it right back. I think I'd rather develop here. Let's make a land drop. Play an uncounterable Mother Bear. And an uncounterable Wilson. And then next turn I'll play Adaptive Automaton and just shove with a whole bunch of creatures. See if my opponent has like an end of turn Solitude, which it kind of feels like they do. Yeah, there's the 5th mana. It was another reason not to just make the attack in. Oh, they're going for one of the Werebears rather than the Wilson. Or no, there's Ward, JK. Yeah, Skeleton's scary. I mean, the power level gap between our decks is what's truly scary. Like, I have a pretty acceptable legacy board for what was my turn 4, like 5 power in play, uncounterable creatures, ability to deny lands. This is a Walking Ballista, I think I'm just conceding to it. Oh, it's a Solitude. Sure, I think with multiple lifelinkers and the ability to just have the initiative here, I'm ready to throw in the towel. We're going to play a couple of Dismembers here. I don't think I'm interested in these. Which randomly selected bear would I like to remove from my deck? Not Mass Vandal. Flash Bear is okay. Werebear? Smaller body. It's probably the smaller body here. Okay. I get a free Once Upon a Time on turn 1. I can wasteland my opponent's first land. I'll keep this. I also suppose that I don't have to immediately cast the Once Upon a Time. I can always just play Forest this turn safely against this deck. And cast the Once Upon a Time once I'm another card deeper into my deck. The hope is that my opponent doesn't play a turn 1 initiative creature, because that's just gonna beat me. The hope is my opponent plays non-basic land and passes. And this is not helping me out here. Yeah. I don't think I can realistically beat this card on turn 1. Like, the power level gap between our decks is just massive. And I don't have that much removal. I'll need to, like, draw a Dismember pretty much immediately. Let's see what I can find with Once Upon a Time. These 2/2s are not going to line up well versus this, so I have to play Metallic Mimic this turn. Guess I will take another Metallic Mimic. I will play Wasteland, drop a Metallic Mimic on Bear, pass the turn. I'm not in a situation where I can just take out this land. And I'm going to be dead very, very quickly. Especially if my opponent has a follow-up play in any capacity. There's the land to do it. I'm at 15. My opponent's just holding up mana, which may or may not actually be good for me. You know, this could be representing Touch the Spirit Realm or something like that. Double spelling next turn probably matters a lot. That goes on Bear. We'll play a Metallic Mimic. Also goes on Bear. I go ahead and pass the turn. Again, I don't think I can really wasteland my opponent here. My plan involves fighting my opponent in combat with multiple 4/4 or larger bears. No play on their turn on my end step though with their mana. Alright. I will bite then. I'm still getting trapped. I realistically could consider trading our red-white initiative. I could consider trading both of these creatures for the White Plume Adventurer. I'm gonna do that though. Well, maybe I don't have a choice. No, I'm gonna take this hit, go to 5, and then hope that I can play another creature and then like take the initiative. So I will go land drop. I guess this is a mother bear. And now crash in with both of these and hope that nothing goes wrong. Fuck. At this point, I'm basically dead. As I lose one of these to Solitude, lose the other to the block. My opponent's probably supposed to do that the other way. It gains me less life. Oh, it doesn't matter. All right, we'll concede there. That's not happening from this point. Okay, I am on the play. I think this is just too much mana. This is effectively 6 mana sources. Okay. As a 6-card hand, I probably keep this and hope that Vile gets there. I think I throw back one of the adaptive automatons. Although, I could keep both. These are bears. I could throw back a mother bear here. I could throw back a mother bear here. Now, I need this Vile to resolve. This does not resolve. I have no game here. Okay. Third round in a row playing against one of the top 2 decks in Legacy while playing my meme bear deck. Is fine. Although admittedly the first round versus Delver was like a very good game. Match rather. Alright. That's a Dragon Rage channeler. Okay, I drew a land, so like we're playing with magic cards here. I'm going to drop the Metallic Mimic first. We're gonna name Bear. And if this makes it around the table, cool. But I don't really expect it to. Yeah. Another land into graveyard there. Sure. Brings me to 19. There's already 5 cards in graveyard over there. I'm drawing pretty well off the top, honestly, all things considered. The bad news is, like, we can just be facing down Murktide Regent as early as this turn. Oh, okay. That's a horrifying amount of card selection. Yeah, this almost certainly flips these immediately. Okay. Well, you can't always hit the lands, right? 3 cards in graveyard, or 3 card types in graveyard. I will trade my Wilson for both of your Dragon Rage channelers. Opponent is unwilling to make the trade. We try to play the Queen. Okay. We have some pretty respectable bears in play. However, we may just take 6 in the air this turn. Opponent needs like a sorcery or an artifact in graveyard. Okay, they topped one of the cards they just found there. Which in my mind probably means Lightning Bolt or Force of Will. Could be EI. It is a Delver. Okay. So you're telling me there's a chance. This is a very strange moment to have a Flash Bear. I think I just cast it at sorcery speed before my opponent can have Lightning Bolt up. Fuck. I cannot pay. I will send in the bears. I'm going to guess that my opponent's not going to trade here. And just calling it a hunch, I think Delver is going to flip. Oh? Oh? Really? Okay. But with that many... Never mind. That was probably the worst draw in my deck. Any land gives me this, any bear gives me very valuable triggers. Get in there, bears. Now, if you are looking at this game purely via life totals, I am currently winning. And I just want everyone to know that. Scoreboard, bears are winning. Now, does Delver flip? Delver does not flip. Okay. This is beyond strange. Yes, I will use this ability. Play land. Play a lord. Name bear. This is a bear for the purposes of what I need it to be. So, am I fighting? Probably just put +1/+1 counters on this. Just stay aggressive here. Go bears. This is 8 incoming damage. My opponent is at 7. Yeah, we are officially in chump block territory. My opponent is at 2. I have a 5/5 Trampler, Vigilant Reachy creature. Delver trigger. Delver does not flip. Opponent goes to 1. Good stuff. Must be Murktide Regent based on the slow casting speed of the spell. 7/7 is potentially just okay. Pick that up. Play a Wasteland. Play a new adaptive Automaton. I'm going to name Bear. The 6/6. Just stack up Wilson. Wilson is now an 8/8. Going to go ahead and Wasteland this. Now, I'm going to say, yes, we won this game, but in no capacity do I believe that I won this game because I did a good thing. I think my opponent just botched this game. I imagine that with their surveils, they could have flipped this Delver and been attacking me for 3. And, like, then there's actual pressure on my life total. And, like, this being a larger body maybe means that Wilson couldn't have gotten some of those earlier attacks. So I don't think I won this game on my own merit. I think my opponent punted this in a way that was perhaps not immediately visible to me. Okay. 4x choke is the plan. I would like to steal a game with that. And then I have to decide how I want to board. Mass Vandal went out before, and then I think I boarded out my Aether Vials. Just kind of rationalizing that as the game goes long, they don't really matter here. And it's just a question of, like, do I want to play the Leyline of the Voids as well? They're very bad top decks, but they're pretty respectable in the opening hand at slowing things down until I can play a choke. What would be coming out? 2x Grizzly Bear, 2x Ashcoat Bear, or Werebear? I don't know. My opponent might put enough cards in my graveyard that Werebear actually gets big. Werebear eventually being a 4/4, like, definitely does matter. Other Bear coming back is technically a thing that exists. Alright. Let's play the ley lines. Still not sure if that's correct. Okay, I have a removal spell in my opening hand. I have 3 lands, although only one of them is green, but I have 2 colorless castable cards. So I think this is just reasonable. And I'm probably not wastelanding my opponent this game. So it's tempting. That was a fast shuffle. I like have a 3-drop I want to play though. My normal legacy heuristics for right now are just don't wasteland Delver. But with this low power bear deck, the answer might just be like wasteland Delver, force, like, try to get a free one. I could buy that here. I would not do this if I was playing a more powerful deck. But I'm not playing a powerful deck, so I think I will try for the free one. Especially after how fast my opponent shuffled with that Ponder in the first place. A choke. That is a great card. I can't cast yet, but will be quite strong in a little bit, assuming that I can make it to that point. Yep. I'm not even going to bother to float the mana here. My opponent would just fetch and play a creature in their second main phase. Nice. Basic lands are good. Though I do wish I had that last turn for obvious reasons. Alright. It was getting on the road. Oh, it's just a brainstorm. No creature yet. Okay, there is a land drop. Wow, still no creature. Okay, reasonable draw. I think I just play Metallic Mimic over one of these, though. It just makes future cards better. Both of these eat it to a Lightning Bolt, but I don't want to play Ashcoat Bear to play around Lightning Bolt. Just, like, such a low power play in comparison to the other two. And, like, this Ashcoat Bear gets better once I have an Ayula in play. Alright. Predictable Lightning Bolt has happened. It feels like my opponent's going to have a Murktide Regent here. To dodge Dismember? Yeah, it's a 6/6. I think this game is now a lost cause. I'm just not going to be able to realistically beat a Murktide Regent without the second Dismember or a Wilson. Oh, I think I'm going to go ahead and just move on to the next one here. Like, that card at its current size just completely dodges my removal. This is part of the reason why I am, like, kind of begrudgingly playing these ley lines. I just need to stop that from happening. I can wall some 1/1s, or maybe even a 3/2, like flip Delver forever, if I can mostly hide behind a choke. This will be a keep. This has the ley line to make my opponent's creatures small, and 2 attempts at a choke after that. Let's start on leyline here. And I think I just wait to play the Once Upon a Time. In theory, can get a little awkward to wait. I think I'm still fine waiting. And that was a shuffle. That Ponder was just a random card in a turn worth of mana. Fantastic. Now let's go ahead and cast this. Okay, we've got choices. Ayula is good. Metallic Mimic is good. I'll take the Ayula. We will play a land. Play a Metallic Mimic. This is a great opportunity to give my opponent a Dazeable card. We'll name Bear. And I don't know if I'm going to jam a choke next turn, or if I'm just going to play a Bear. Kind of depends on what my opponent does. No second land. I feel compelled to just slam a choke. I don't know what it is. I'm just getting some signals that playing choke might be an okay thing to do. My opponent down to 18. Play a land. This gets dazed. It still sets my opponent back on mana when mana denial is going to be a major portion of my plan. Yep, that's fine. This is fine. Aggressive iteration has been made worse by my opponent dazing here. This is all a-okay with me so far. What I don't want to see is just another threat here. Not a fan. I still think I am just jamming choke until it works, though. Okay, choke is in play. I think I would like to hold back Metallic Mimic so this can't attack. So ultimately now I need to just be able to race this Delver, which Ayula and Metallic Mimic in conjunction will probably do. But there is the question of, like, exactly how much, like, counter magic is in my opponent's hand. That's a little annoying because it prevents me from double 2-dropping if I draw a 2-drop, which I did. We'll just play this one first. It is counterable. Well, I could just play this so the Delver can't attack me anymore. Yeah, that's actually probably just correct. Like, this can scale up over time. All right, there's a 3/3. Now I'm probably okay with attacking with Metallic Mimic. Trading that for the other body is okay. Like, I'm currently in the situation where I get to cast spells and my opponent doesn't. Pyrokinesis. Ward looking hot here. So the ward means that that entire spell is countered. So my opponent just pitched 2 cards for no reason, which I appreciate greatly. Well, they did top the card from their surveil, so I guess they paid 2 cards to look at the top card of their library. So there's that. All right, sure. Guess I don't want to see another Delver specifically. Chillin'? Oh, we're chilling. Nice. A Wasteland. That's probably just worth doing immediately. We'll Wasteland, target the untapped Volk, which dances back and forth for some reason. Lightning Bolt my face rather than Metallic Mimic. Alright, they topped a card. Play a 3/3 bear. Go to combat. I will just send in with both of those. Okay, we are making this trade. I kind of thought this trade was going to happen last turn, but it didn't. I now have 6 power in play to my opponent's 3 power. Unsure whether or not I block. Yeah. Leyline of the Void's very bad as a draw here. Currently the beatdown. I will go ahead and crash on in. Wouldn't be surprised to see a trade of some nature. I don't know which one of these my opponent values more highly. Is the Wilson. You get to trample over for a little extra damage. I will play a secondary choke because I don't have anything else to do with this card. And now we see if I can get 3 more hits in with this bear. Every bear I draw from here is quite strong as long as this remains in play. Okay, Brainstorm's great for me. Like, that leaves that land tapped forever. And a lightning bolt to remove Ayula is very costly, because it's a card plus a land that stays tapped forever unless they have basic mountain, which is somewhat unlikely. I'm going to go ahead and dismiss this expressive iteration. Okay, there is a fetch, and on I go. I'll play this pre-combat, I guess. Play Mother Bear. I think I just spread the love rather than set myself up for a worse lightning bolt. Although if my opponent had the lightning bolt, they just do it in response to this, right? Yeah, so they don't have the lightning bolt. All right. In for 5. Blue-Red Delver. The best deck in Legacy. Or is it? A group of bears, a group of expert bears even, has a different take on the matter. News at 11. We've got Vile, we've got Port, we've got bears. Good enough for me. Plus, like, we have a win under our belts at this point. The bear deck has proven itself battle ready. Please play a tier 2 deck. Ah! Okay. It's not initiative. I mean, it could be red-white initiative still, but, you know, it's not as bad as it could be. I will happily accept this matchup. I have a bunch of 2/2s that can trade with Legion Warboss. It's very awkward that they are exactly 2/2s, though, with the Mentor. Like, I can just play a bear this turn and trade with Warboss in combat. It could be the Flash Bear, even. Alright. I have to, like, not play Rashad Port in order to, like, get the surprise aspect of the Ashcoat Bear, though. Alright. Let's yield to those. Nobody sees the Ashcoat Bear coming. Oh, yeah. So we will trade with 1 Legion Warboss and then attempt to take the next one out next turn. I think I have to play out more creatures here rather than Rashad Port my opponent. It's a shame, because I would really like to stop my opponent from casting spells, but I don't know, maybe I don't have to. Maybe I don't have to. Like, there's a good amount of incoming damage, but if I am stopping my opponent from playing, like, another Rebel Master or a Caves of Chaos Adventurer or whatever, this is just absolutely worth it. Kappa. Moon is fine. Moon does not significantly impact my ability to cast spells or kill my opponent. All these 2/2s. Alright, yeah, my opponent's wise. Wise to what's going on now. Put in a Wilson. Wonderful little gentleman. We'll go ahead and take out a 1/1 here. To 11. File is probably staying at 2 this whole match. Play a Once Upon a Time. Ooh, finding Metallic Mimic. Yes. Metallic Mimic. Play Yavimaya. Play Metallic Mimic. Name Bearer. I think I just guarantee. No, Fury. I will go ahead and attack with my Vigilant creature. Put my opponent to 14. And there is a real chance. Yeah. Trying to avoid that. Remember when I was trying to avoid that? Didn't work. A shame, because we were starting to turn the corner here. Alright. Tap this. Yes. Put in Mother Bear. Actually, I don't want to do that. I want to block with this one, I guess, because of Fury. I shouldn't have put this in with this timing in case my opponent has Fury plus red card. They do not. I'm going to say always no to that and always yield to that. Ebo Seiju. Seiju doesn't really do cool things here. I think I'm dead. And because I think I am dead, I'm going to make a wild attack and see what my opponent does with it. No, they just block with a token. Yeah, I don't even think I can kind of bluff my way out of this. I can Boseiju Blood Moon and then port down Mountain. I don't really think that gets me anywhere. I'm going to save this Boseiju in case it does something cooler later. But I just, I don't know how to beat Forge into Trap here. Oh, I don't have to. Shit, yeah. I mean, I'm honestly super happy with that. Fury. Okay, I'm gonna throw in the towel there. GG's. That was closer than I was expecting for how bad that started off. I don't think I actually want Force of Vigor for like Chalices and Blood Moons and stuff. It's like playable versus Fable, but I showed my opponent enough basics where some of the Blood Moon type stuff might be, might be coming out anyway. And I think I'll probably like cut a Werebear here. A couple of Werebears to play some Dismembers. I'm just like very much not going to activate Threshold in this matchup. This has 2 Boseijus, which is slightly awkward. I still think it is going to be a keep. One admittedly will be awkward versus a Blood Moon. I don't remember which Boseiju art I showed them last game. That's the sort of thing that I don't have the overhead for. If you are going to be playing the same deck consistently on Magic Online, like please match your arts. There are strategic reasons to do so. I, on the other hand, will just use whatever is available from my sponsor, Cardhoarder. Alright. Rabble Master is fine. Will immediately be worth the life to just remove that. And we're going to be playing some bears. We'll play Ayula first. It just scales up better. Like, Werebear to multispell is cool, but I just need the raw power that this card offers me. Okay, I mean, I don't mind getting 2 cards here. The problem is if my opponent's last card is also a threat or a Blood Moon. What was pitched to that Fury? Better Skull Smashing. Sure. Goes on Bear. And I'm just going to go ahead and play a Werebear here. This gives me access to more mana next turn. And then I can potentially double spell without using Boseiju. Another Fury. Rough. Yeah, like Ayula was the way to really deal with a Fury well. Alright. One can go on like Construct for the Mimics. There's a Mother Bear and a Grizzly Bear. I can get attacked for 6, crash back in for 4, but this changes the math on all of that. Oh. Yep. Your... What is the 4 and exiling 4 other cards from graveyard? Well, we can both get some graveyard-oriented value here. I technically can do the Mother Bear stuff on my next turn if I miss on my draw. Which I did. Only activate this as a sorcery. Alright. Opponent's at 14. The original draft of this had 4 Boseijus, and I cut it down to a much more reasonable number of Boseijus, but like there's still very much downside for running multiple of the same legendary land. They are not the free rolls in the mana base that you hear like people saying they are. This token feels old school. Alright, a Legion War Boss is fine in the short term, but starts getting scarier as of next turn. This Fury is also just like picking me apart in a way that's not super acceptable, and like a land drop is annoying. Okay. So I will play a Masked Vandal. I will use the ability. I will exile a creature from my graveyard, take out that Mox. I'll just hold back all of my creatures, and I've got to trade with the Fury in combat, which involves triple blocking it or more. Well, I have a Chalice, or sorry, I have a Cavern. I don't actually care about that. Opponent makes their token. See if they're crashing in with the War Boss. They are. I will play an Uncounterable Bear. So, opponent can do 6 total damage here. That is 2 creatures. So you kill one of my 2/2s. I still have 3 left for afterwards. This is fine. It's not good, but it's fine. Alright. It's a bloodbath. I am left with a 2/2 bear Oh, Chalice actually did something. Yeah, that was my only 2-drop that couldn't be uncounterable. Oh man, they hit on their draw. Fuck. Uh-huh. They also have this if they don't forget about it. So now these just produce red mana, so I can't use this to uncounterably get through the Chalice, which is annoying. My opponent almost certainly wins from this position, because any of their top deck threats are just very good. And it's very hard for me to make any plays here between both of these cards being the way they are. We could get lucky. Like, this puts opponent to 2. They've got multiple cards in hand. Like, presumably there's like some stuff that's stuck in there. Wonder if my opponent killed themselves with their own Blood Moon because they just have a bunch of 4-drops. Ooh, Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. That's a lot better than my cards. Well, that can't be countered, but I don't have green mana. Do I want to trade with this token? I have 2 Adaptive Automaton and 1 Dismember. That would just let me potentially kill next turn. But if that thing attacks and then unleashes a Caves of Chaos adventure, I can't possibly win. So I think I just have to stop that scenario. But this is not a good position for a good old Phil here. And I've used both copies of my Boseiju already, and my opponent gets to like loot with this. All right, Chalice and Fury. Those are very sensible things. That's what I actively tried to avoid. So I am now dead deterministically in 2 turns to trap, and probably in 1 turn to Caves of Chaos Adventurer. And that is not going to do it. I will concede there. GG's. Okay, this can represent a threat, but with 6 mana sources here, I don't think I'm interested in this. I will keep this one, throwing back a Grizzly Bears as just objectively the worst card here. And I will lead on Once Upon a Time immediately since I'm playing Forest into Aether Vial this turn. Okay. The good news is those cards are not on top of my library now. The bad news is I was trying to use that to find an Ayala or a Wilson or whatever. Oh, it's Blue-Red Delver. Okay. Alright. I will be playing an in-combat Ashcoat Bear here, and hoping that Delver does not naturally flip. Fuck me. Alright. Can't catch a break tonight. That's okay. Sure. Alright, my opponent is on 1 land. I don't care if my opponent dazes this, honestly. Okay. That's nice. Very legitimately nice. Opponent goes to 17. I think I'm just jamming it. Nice. Like, I can get lightning bolted or whatever. Alright, so that was my opponent's top card. Don't like that. Please not lightning bolt as well. Yeah. It's fine. Like, knowing that my opponent was on 1 land there, I think it was correct to try to chance that so that I can play Mother Bear next turn around Daze and then Rashad Port them down for the rest of the game. Excuse me. But now we just kind of play what we have. Name Bear. Play Bear. Bear Big. Back with Bear Big. Opponent goes to 13. They have 2 card types in graveyard. I technically have more power on board, but my opponent is getting the next attack here, which probably means that they are favored. They also just have big dumb things in their deck like Murktide Regent, which can just come down right here. But it doesn't. I'm at 11. Oh, it just comes down post-combat instead. Grrr. Grrr. Yeah, like, I have a pretty damn good board for a turn 5 legacy game. Like, if I play this, it's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 power plus a Rishadan but I'm just dead in the air. GG's. Alright, so I think I ended up deciding that I play all of these cards. That was Masked Vandal out, Aether Vial out, Grizzly Bears out. Ooh, Ashcoat Bear? Sure. That has no mana. Another one of those awkward double Boseiju situations. It's got a choke. I'm just going to keep hands that have choke. I throw back the fancy Boseiju art because I'm more used to this one. Alright. Land pass. This is one of those times where I'm hoping to avoid a turn 1 threat. Fantastic. I wanted to play this onto a more naked board, if possible. Just a little side tip here. Be very careful when you control both Yavimaya and Cavern of Souls, because Cavern of Souls gains an extra ability to tap for green that is immediately next to the tap for green uncounterable one, and it's a little frustrating. Okay, sure, this is fine. I'm not pleased with that, and I don't know that I can just jam choke yet. I haven't given my opponent a chance to counter anything. I can't let my opponent have a chance to just play a Murktide Regent, though. YOLO. I don't play this, they just play like a fetch land, play Murktide Regent, and then the choke doesn't matter anymore. Force pitching Daze. Could have just dazed me. I see. That's fair, I guess. Draw another choke off the top. No problem. Okay, some problem. With a second creature in play, a choke probably doesn't win me the game anymore. I think I'm now just dead to board. Unless I have just like perfect draws and my opponent has nothing from here. Let's pass this and see where I can go with it. Wilson's great. Wilson's uncounterable. Counterable multiple different ways. We'll play a Wilson. Wilson can trade with Delver, not with Dragon Rage Channeler. Another Lightning Bolt is a disaster. A Murktide Regent is a disaster. Unholy Heat, you guessed it, disaster. Now they topped a card. A Wasteland. Wasteland on Cavern of Souls is respectable. And this does not trade with this. My Dismembers won't be live to answer this for very long. Sure. Bash in with a Wilson. Put my opponent to 15. See if Delver flips. It's going for the fetch. Do Mystic Sanctuary nonsense. Sure. Finding an EI. I'll go ahead and take this opportunity to tap down my opponent's lands to make that EI worse. Do that on 2 Volks. I can still cast an EI. It just won't necessarily be as good. Okay. Bye, Cavern. They are just willing to just trade the Delver. I just have to accept the trade. Not very good at answering this. 5 cards in graveyard for Werebear. So it's an embarrassing 1/1. Maybe I'm not supposed to even play this for Ayula purposes. Like, I have to keep it to play Ayula and then play that afterwards. I don't think it matters. I just think my opponent has this one. The whole, like, EI into EI loop thing that's going on here is much stronger than anything that exists in my entire deck. Yeah. So this is 3 damage. I'll get hit for another 3 next turn. My Dismembers are basically off now. Yeah, I am comfortable throwing in the towel here. GG. But at the end of the day, you know what we did? We got a match win. And not only that, we got a couple of game wins beyond that. It was not like this was an 0-4 drop league. And we were surprisingly close to taking down a second match as well. So, overall thoughts on the deck list. In terms of like legacy competitiveness, like this is not at all a competitive deck in any capacity, but we knew that going in. In terms of fun, this was an enjoyable experience. In terms of improving the deck, my suggestion is to take out most of the bears, and we're going to add Ancient Tombs, and we're going to go ahead and splash for white mana, and then we're just going to play an initiative deck instead. No, really. With the quality of the bear cards that exist right now, like the playable bears are Wilson and Ayula, and they are admittedly pretty good. But in order to like have anything else beyond that that is like really giving synergy for this creature type, we have to dip into the colorless things. Until the rest of the supporting cast looks much better, I don't think this is at all worth considering as something that you should do in Legacy. And I don't even think this one is strong enough that I'd recommend taking it to your FNM. Like this was very fun. And like we have the screenshot of winning a game of Legacy with a bunch of grizzly bears. So like we've got that going for us. But like the reason that you will win games of Legacy decks with this card is because like a choke or a Leyline of the Void just goes and steals a game for you. And like while you can do some things, there's so much creature removal now in Legacy because the initiative deck is so popular that when your creatures look like this instead of like Murktide Regent or Seasoned Dungeoneer or White Bloom Adventurer, you're really doing yourself a disservice. Anyway, if you have any thoughts for Sweet Tech, throw it down in the comments below. Really would appreciate it. I hope you all enjoyed this absolute nonsense, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya!